Hey guys, my name is Dave Ceccarelli. A lot of people call me Checkers. I have a little YouTube channel. It's just a couple of videos I've made about the creation and building of and designing of my gas bike. I call her Spirit. It's a hyperframe. Recently, I did I had a desire to put more of a motorcycle style or roadworthy style lighting array on her, and I came up with some ideas. I had a concept. That's all I have. I'm not a wiring guy. I don't have a degree in low voltage currency or anything. I just know that there's positive and negative coming out of a battery, and both of those got to go to a light to turn it on. That's about as much as I did know. What I have been doing is watching a lot of YouTube videos on how to wire things up, what's necessary, what's important, what's not important, and then I did a lot of guesswork as well. And so I kind of pieced and put together items that I thought would work, and I kept doing it until I came up with a solution that did work. And then I started tweaking on that because I want it to look good. I want it to be clean and tight and fit to the bike. I want it to look almost like a factory option that you could order with these bikes. So it did kind of require some learning curves and that. So what I wanted to do is make a video because everything I learned I got off of YouTube videos, and it's bits and pieces. And I thought, I'll make one that kind of showed or shared some of the things that I did that might help you, might help inspire you, might give you some ideas and insights if you want to do something similar to yours. And again, everything I'm using is something that I bought off of Amazon, and rather than post links, because a link just tells you the specific one I bought, and almost every single thing I bought comes in a gazillion options. So rather than post links, I'll just tell you what I used, and then you can go to the search bar on Amazon or wherever you like to shop for things and order it yourself. You're obviously going to need to have wire. Smaller gauge wire is all you really need. This company here, let's see if I'll hold up the box, is one that I use. It's got 6 different colors. It helps because you want different colors for different functions that are going to happen for the lights. You're also going to want to get some lights. LED lights is what you're looking for, obviously. They're low voltage, they don't draw a lot of energy, electricity, and this is going to be a system that runs off of a battery pack. Now, you can do it any way you want. There are big brick batteries out there for like motorcycles. I thought that those were a little too big and bulky looking on a bicycle. So, and again, this whole thing is designed to give a motorcycle lighting array look without but we don't have lots of big areas like a motorcycle does to conceal a battery underneath the seat or whatever. So I wanted something to look kind of small and compact. These battery packs that you get with your power tools is a pretty good option. They're small. I didn't know how I was going to initially hook it up to my bike, but I knew that this was the size of battery that I want to try to use and see if I can make it work. Now this is for Porter cable, but what I found again in doing my research is so what I initially had. See if I can find mine. It's somewhere. Hang on. It's coming back. I'll be back. Oh, here it is. This is all about learning, guys. So this is what I initially was using. This was I don't know if you can see it. This was a flashlight. This was a Porter cable flashlight. The flashlight was like on here. You could swivel it up or down. This was your button to turn it on and off, and then this thing would slide on in and give you power. So I use this as my it's kind of my connection point that I would then have wires that came out and fed into the wiring array. I even put a little fuse right here. This is a 30 amp fuse, and then there's a wire that comes out that goes into this little junction. This is just a lever wire connector that this wire goes into, and then I open up this lever wire connector, which opens up a hole that you can put a wire down and then run off and then go feed for your red for negative and then or for positive, and then I had a negative one on this side. Well, after making this and using it, I realized that it did work, but it started getting bigger and bigger, and I'm trying to find things that are as small and as sleek as possible. So what I did is there are those big electrical cars that the kids ride around in called big toys or big wheels or something like that. I don't think they're called big wheels. I don't know what they're called, but what they are is they're like, you know, little they look like little cars, but they have batteries in them, and they have big brick batteries like we would use. So, but there is an adapter that you can buy. Look up. I think they're called Power Wheels. So if you Amazon, go to Amazon and say Power Wheels battery adapter. Power Tools battery adapter. They're small little plastic things that clip right on. They're designed to fit your brand, so you have to put in the brand of batteries that you use, and they'll show up. I think they're made on one of those 3D printers, and but they work. They slip right on. There's two little positive and negative coming off of here. I recommend you get some kind of a fuse that you can run in line before going into your lighting array. That'll just kind of help prevent it. If in case there's any kind of a overload, it'll pop the fuse first. So that's my suggestion for how to power your lights. The next thing you're going to want to look at is switches and relays. I'm going to get a switch that I ended up not using, but I'm going to use it just to kind of show you guys what to look for. I thought I had it right here. Apparently I don't. I guess I wasn't prepared for this video, huh? Happens. Here it is. Okay. So, handlebar controls come in many shapes and sizes. Again, Amazon. So put handlebar light controls or motorcycle handlebar light controls, and you'll see a gazillion to choose from. And that's the thing is, keep looking until you find one that's going to give you everything that you want to be able to do. I wanted to be able to have a right and left turn signal. I wanted to have low beams and high beams, or I should say, low beams and high beams, as well as just running lights. I wanted to have running lights, a low beam and a high beam, and turn signals. And I also wanted to have a kill switch, and I also wanted to have a horn. So all these things, I wanted to have controls that we're able to do. And each time I bought one, I looked at it, it looked like it would work, but then, like, for example, here's one. This one here has a high and low. It has a right and left turn signal, and it has a button here, which is for a horn. Now, each one of these just serves a function. It closes and opens a circuit. So when you flip it down, it's opening a low beam circuit. If you flip it up, it's opening a high beam circuit. When you flip this to the right or the left, it's just opening a circuit that feeds into that light system. Pushing this closes a circuit or opens a circuit. It causes the horn to honk. But you could also use that for a kill switch. All you're doing is closing a circuit. So all these are switches that open and close a circuit, a pathway for electricity to run. And this is how you have to be thinking of things. If you get one of these and you get something like this and you go, oh my gosh, I don't know what any of these do. All you need to do is figure out which one of these positions closes a circuit between two of these wires. And what I always did, so I took my little battery pack here, I hooked one end into the positive, so electricity was going into it. I hooked I did it a different way. Let me get something here. I would get a light. All you need is the positive and negative off of a light, and have the battery feed into the negative on your light, have the positive feed into one of these wires, and have one of these wires hooked up to a light, to the positive of the light, have a negative from the light go back to the battery, and have a wire coming off the positive of the battery, and get ready to touch these other leads until this thing comes on. And if you touch a lead here, that means there's a signal flowing through to giving it, and you have to figure out, well, okay, that these two wires are connected to that switch. Every time I push that switch, the light came on. That means that those two wires are part of that. So that's how you figure out what wires goes to what. So a lot of these things come over from other countries, and they don't always have wiring diagrams. Sometimes you can go to the Amazon page where you bought it, and one of those little photos will show you the wiring diagram. But really, all you need to do is have a test light on your thing, have a battery, and wire it in such a way so when you start touching wires, something makes the light turn on, and then you know that those two are related to each other in some way. And then you play around with switches until you can figure out when you flip a switch, it connects that circuit and it makes the light come on. Then you know that these two are for that switch, and then you take like tape. I took masking tape and I just wrote on there, you know, low beam position, high beam position, and so on. And that's what I did to figure out the switches. Now this I didn't end up using, and there's a reason why. I thought it would work. It was cheap. These are all cheap, by the way. This was like $8. The system I'm using ended up being like $16, and it's like 3 times as good. But it turns out this had a right turn signal, left turn signal. It had a button that I could use for a kill switch, and it only had a low beam and a high beam, which means no way to turn the lights off. That means they're always on. They're either on low or they're on a high. They're never off. So I ended up finding a system that had two controls. One had off for the lights, running lights, and then headlights. It also had a button for the kill switch. And then on the other side, there is a right turn signal, left turn signal. And again, all you got to do is keep looking on Amazon until you find, you know, if you search for one and then you go down below, then there's a whole bunch of other options that are similar. And you just keep finding, you keep looking until you find ones that fit what you're going to want to do. You are going to want to figure out what lights you're going to want to have on your bike. Again, I wanted turn signals. I wanted a rear brake light. I wanted front lights, obviously with turn signals, and a main headlight that was either on a low beam or a high beam. And this one I found, this has a low beam and a high beam and a halo. And I had to decide how I wanted to wire that. Did I want each one to be an independent position of the switch? Can I even do that? And I realized I can't. I'd almost have to have 3 positions on my lights, on just my headlights to do that. So what I've done is I'm going to wire it so that when I have my daytime running lights on, this is off. When I flip my headlights on, the center ones come on. When I flip my high beam on, the center one comes off, and the halo glows. Obviously I could do that differently. I could do it so that all the things are on. But I want to have it so either my halo is on or my regular lights are on. So that's how I'm going to do it. But again, these are options that you can get creative with. So let me go ahead and I've touched on those 2 things, how to, what to look for in your, for power, what to do for handlebar controls and how to look for those and what you need to do. In fact, the one I have now is a horn. And then for my brake lights, I found a handlebar grip. It's a brake lever, a dual handle brake lever, or dual cable brake lever. So it runs both brake cables at the same time, and when you pull in, it actually sends a signal to close the circuit to run the brakes. So I have brakes on that sucker, and most of the LEDs, again, when you're buying any LED light, look to see what it does. If you buy one that's for a motorcycle and it's a turn signal and it's a 12-volt LED light, make sure that it says that, and then start looking for designs. Most of them are going to have 3 wires that come out: the ground, and then the low beam and the high beam for that particular LED, and then it's up to you on how you want to position those. The ground is obviously one, but the low beam could be on all the time, or that could come on when you blink, and the other one can come on when you hit your brakes. So there's a lot of ways of deciding what the low beam and the high beam does on a light or a turn signal. It's up to you. Now we're going to talk about relays. Okay, when you turn the switch on, the battery is sending electricity in here. All the switch does is close a circuit to allow electricity to flow from the battery to the light. This is something that we kind of know, but these are little thin wires. 1 second here. So, sorry, interrupted. So a switch is, again, closing a circuit which allows electricity to flow through it. Your lights need electricity. So what you have is you have a light that has a negative lead, a wire that's going to go get a negative energy, if you will, from your battery pack. And then you have positive, which you need positive electricity coming from your battery pack, which runs to the light. The switch allows that to happen. But what you do is you run. Some people would think, okay, so you run positive into one end, and then a wire going from the other end back to your light, and then when you switch it, it allows that electricity to flow through the switch and back to the light. That makes sense. But the problem is these switches are not really designed to have a tremendous amount of current flowing through them. They're designed to have a low voltage amount of current flowing through them, and they're really just to help close a circuit. But what you don't want, it has a lot of electricity flowing through them from the battery through them and then back to the light, because it's going to actually get overheated and melt. And so that's when we talk about relays. A relay is a switch that opens and closes and allows the electricity to come in from the battery and then back out to the light. And what opens and closes the relay is your switch. So what you do is, they're inside each relay is and I'll see if you can, that's what these are. These are called 4-pin relays. You'll see a bunch of them in your car if you ever look under the hood. And this is actually a flasher relay, and I'll go over each one of these. So what a 4-pin relay is where the battery comes in, the positive comes into the relay and then flows back out to the light. And the only thing that allows that turns the relay on and off is your switch. So what you do is you actually have the switch wired to the relay, and every time you flip your switch, it closes a little electromagnet. So all your switch is really doing is powering an electromagnet that's inside the relay, which then closes the switch, which allows the power to flow through. So that's what you're doing. You're actually wiring your handlebar switch up to your relays, and each relay controls a different lighting function. So one relay would be for your running lights, one relay would be for your brake lights, one relay would be for your high beam, one relay would be for your low beam. So that's how I have mine done. And then I have another relay here for my flashers. And what this does is when you flip the switch, it allows a pulse electricity to go out to the lights instead of a constant. And so that's what the LED, and these are all designed for LED, but I don't know if they have to be. But again, bought them on eBay, and these are, I can't pull them apart because I have them hooked up here a certain way, but let's see if I can find one. So this is a relay on the back. It's like a plug. The plug would fit into a harness. This is one of the harnesses that it comes with, and it just plugs right on in. I got to get my glasses on so I can see what I'm doing here. So see, each plug, you can only plug it in one way. It doesn't allow you to put them in backwards. And when you plug them in, then you have your wires that go to the right thing. There'll be a negative black lead that goes to the negative on the battery. The positive lead here would actually go to the switch. So the switch sends a signal here, which then closes the electromagnet inside, and then you have a red, which is coming in from the battery, and then you have the blue, which goes out to the lighting array. So this is, or whatever you're powering. So when you flip your switch, it closes the, when you flip your switch, it closes the electromagnet switch inside here, which allows the energy to flow. So you need to find out how many functions you have on your handlebar control, what things you're powering on your handlebar control, and then for each lighting function, you need to have a relay. That way you're not relying on the circuitry inside your little switch here to allow all the energy to flow through. You could try that, but I'm telling you, you're gonna fry your wires. That's not what these are designed for. These are designed for a very small amount of current. And if you are running lights on your bike for a long period of time, all that energy, electricity flowing through this little switch, it's gonna eventually burn out. These will get warm, and you can find out when you're driving and you've had your lights on for a while, these will get warm. That's a sign that they're doing their job, and they're designed for that kind of heat. These things are not designed for that amount of electricity to be flowing through them. Just the small amount of current to power the electromagnet that's inside here. So that is relays. Let me show you mine up really, really close and show you what I've done. Each one of these is a lever wire connector. These are lever wire connectors. What they are is they're basically, I'll show you one by itself. Here is a 3-pin lever wire connector. On the top are areas for wires to fit down inside. They can't go in all the way until you open up a lever. Once you open up a lever, it opens up a little jaw that's inside here, which allows the wire to go all the way down in, and then when you close it, it closes that jaw, which grabs the wire really super tight. And that's how these work. And every single one of these is connected to each other, so as soon as you put one in here, all three are getting that same amount of current. So here's what I've done. I've got some 5-pin wire connectors. I have 2 here and 2 here, obviously 4 altogether. And if you'll see on top here, I have black going into this series of 5-pin wire connectors and red going into this. So these are all actually from the battery. And what I've done is I've allowed the end one here, when I open that up, that's when I actually connect the battery to. And as soon as I hook up a positive energy or positive lead from the battery to this, every single one of these now becomes a live, basically are all now connected to the one battery lead that's going back to the battery. This white one is for the flasher relay. They use white instead of red. Not to be confusing, but as they do. And if you see what I did here, see this little jumper? So this means that all these, so all these are hot leads that when they're connected to the battery, and then I put a little jumper cable, which then again connected these to these, and that's how these are all positive connections, and that's what I needed. I needed that many to power up all my my relays. Then I had the same thing for the negative, same thing. I'll hook a negative lead from the battery, goes into this very end one, and that means all of these are now negative energy sources to power up my relays here. And again, I put you can't see it because it's black, but there's a little jumper here that connects this one to this one. Now, on the other side, these blue and whites, these are the ones that are either coming in, getting a signal in from the handlebar controls, or they're sending energy out to the light that they operate. So that's what I have, these type of lever wire connectors. And what these are is a whole bunch of these. These are lever wire connectors too. There's an inbound on one side and another inbound on the other side, which allows the wires to come in and feed into and then out to whatever they're going to be going. So on this side here is where you would either have a wire coming in from the control or a wire going out to the lighting system that it's feeding. So this, and what I did is I basically, these all clip together. Here's 2 that are slid together. They have little slots on the outside, which allows them to kind of interlock to each other. And so I put enough together to function for my my relay system here, and I stuck them all together, and then I glued them. I didn't glue them. I used double stick tape. So I used double stick tape, and I laid it on the bottom there and stuck them on there. And same thing with here. I used double stick tape to basically mount these to these relay harnesses, these relay plugs. The only reason I can't pull it out is because it's kind of stuck in there. But I'll never ever burn one of these relays out, and if I do, I can pull this thing apart and re-glue it back in. In fact, I think I can. If I did this right, I did make it so if I needed to. So each one of these has a little metal tab that goes up so you can screw it into the wall or screw it into the firewall of your car. So I took the metal things and flipped them upside down, and that's what I glued these to. So I can pull it out if I need to and take a relay off and put another one back on. And see, there's the little areas in the back there where these things slide on into, and they don't clip in place. So this is me just coming up with stupid little ideas that seem to have worked. And the whole point of this, I think I pulled it all apart now. There you go. And the whole point of this is to have a relay system that will power your lights, that won't put stress on my wiring system, and get the job done. Obviously, I could glue more on the back here, which gives me even more power leads coming out. And again, these are little wire. These are wire connectors too. So you just flip the lever up. Now I can put a wire in there. When I clip it back down, the jaws will grab onto that. And so, and these are all set up for the wiring that I'm going to be using on my bike. So there's your relay harness. Some ideas for you there. Now you've got some ideas for your power source, power wheel, battery, wire adapter for, and then your brand, DeWalt, Bosch, Porter cable, which is mine, Milwaukee, great brand of tools, by the way. I think Milwaukee's are one of the better ones out there. Then your wiring harness, where your wires run around your bike. You're going to want to get multiple colors because that's what you just need. I mean, you have to know which colors do what. And so when you're figuring out how many lights are going to be in your rear, how many lights are going to be up front, you also need to know just which one, how many different functions are there going to be. Like for example, my rear lighting array is going to have a brake light, running lights, a right turn signal, and a left turn signal. So there's 4 different functions coming out of there, and each one of those has a negative lead. So basically 5 colors. One is going to be black for the negative lead that comes out of all of them, and they're all going to group together and connect on the back to the black wire. And then in my case, I had 4 other functions. I have a right turn signal, a left turn signal, a running light signal, and a brake signal. So I needed 5 colors coming back. This one I showed you here, this is 6 colors. And I needed 5 in the back, but I needed 6 colors up front for the halo that I wanted in the front. To hide them, I use this stuff. This is called braided sleeve. This is made of vinyl. It's very weather resistant. It looks like a shoelace almost, but when you bunch it together, I'll use it. This is on a set of cords here. When you sleeve it together, it gets really thick, which allows for more wires in between. And then when you let go of it, it automatically just kind of constricts and holds your wires together. There are other options. There's corrugated wiring loom. That's kind of an indoor item. I think it's okay to get hot, but I don't think it's great to get hot. This resists heat a lot better, and obviously when the wires are all in there, it's ridiculously thin and easy to then follow your frame, hide and conceal, get zip tied to your frame. So in my opinion, this stuff is a better option. Again, this is 1/4 inch. This is all you'll ever need. They make bigger ones too, but 1/4 inch is enough because I have 5 cables in here, and I could easily fit more because as you bunch it together, it gets thicker inside, so it will accommodate much more than that. To cut it though, you don't want to use scissors. Scissors, this stuff, it will fray out. It'll start to unravel when you cut it with scissors. You get what's called a hot knife. And what I've been using, if I can find it, obviously I wasn't prepared for this. So this is a butane torch. These are really handy, by the way, for a lot of different reasons. You can refill them if you need to. I got it on Amazon. Put portable butane torch or mini butane torch. So easy to refill. All these little things are just tips. You can get a soldering tip for it. What this little thing here is, it just looks like a little, almost looks like a shovel or a hoe. But what this is, it's a flat edge. And when you put it in here and turn the thing on, and when you turn it on, you turn the gas on, and then you got to spark it with like a lighter or something. But this gets superheated, and then what you do is you just, when you figure out how much length you need, and then you just cut it. And when you cut it, what it does is it sears the edges of it when it cuts. Like this is a cut end here, so it doesn't want to fray. Oh, you know what? No, this is one I actually chopped with scissors just to kind of show you. So let me go ahead and do one so you can see what this looks like. Turn this on. I know it's flowing gas right now. Boom, it's on now. See if you can see it. Heats up almost instantly. We'll get this end that I didn't, and it'll start fraying on me. And this is, this is the part that I didn't cut. So watch what I do. I know it's going to make a mess here, but it's not going to really make a mess. And it's as simple as that. What I did just now is this got super hot. It cut right through it. I did it for the camera, so I kind of went fast. But these are all now seared in a way. You can still run cords through it, but it won't start to spray out or flay out like it was getting ready to there. So you figure out what length you need here. Figure out what length cables, wires you need. But just basically measure from where you're going to position your lights in the rear, and then figure out how you're going to route them through your frame, and then figure out how much that length needs to be. And then and what I did is I carved, I measured mine out. I cut it. I ran it through the cable. I already made a little wiring connection for the back, and then I'm going to be doing it the same for the front. Let's talk about this, and then we're done. Okay, I promise. You've sat through a lot, and hopefully your brain's going. But what this is, see if I can look at it. So here's a whole bunch of the lever wire connectors. This is the colors coming up through the bottom. And there's another color. I just couldn't make it all fit in. So this is going to be my brake light, and then we have a black cable, a yellow cable, a blue cable, and a red cable, all kind of coming up through the bottom of this. And what I've done is I've used double stick tape. Again, here's what I use. This is made by Gorilla. You find it, so the top side doesn't look like it's sticky because it has a backing on it that you got to peel off. But what you do is you peel off how much tape you want to use. You stick it on something, you cut it, and you stick it on something, and then you peel off the back of it, and then now it's sticking on both sides. And what I did is I used a whole bunch of little strips of it in such a way that I positioned, so I have a 3-pin on one side, a 3-pin lever wire connected on the other side, a 2-pin on one side, and a 2-pin on the other side. And again, they're all just kind of stuck together using that. I didn't use, and you see I even have, and so what they're doing is they're coming up through the bottom. It's really tricky how to do it, but yeah, I had them come up to the bottom and poke out the top, and then go back down into their perspective connection point. So I have a 3-pin that has, basically and this is, obviously the black is going back to the battery that has, the negative of the battery. So now anything that plugs into this bank here is going to have negative electricity from the battery. So I can just open these up and put a light wire, a negative wire from the one light into that one, for like one of my blinkers, a negative wire into that one for the other blinker, and believe it or not, they can share. So I can even open up one that already has a wire in it and shove another end of a wire down in there, and now all 3 of those wires are getting negative electricity from the battery. And I can do this, and then one of these is getting from a signal from the positive for one of the turn signals, which is going into one of these levers, and then I just open up the other lever and stick the positive lead from my turn signal into there. And then on top here is my yellow with 3 wire openings, and that's where I'm going to have my running lights. One running light for one of my turn signals is going to go into one of these doors, and it goes in the hole there. You open this up, put it in the hole, put it back down, the jaws clamp down. Same thing with the other turn signal for the running light, and then for the center rear light, which is also my brake light, I'm going to open up this one and shove for the all-time running light there, and then this is going to have the connection for the brake light is going to connect into that one. So this is what's going to be at the end in the back, and I'm going to conceal it. I'm going to find a way to conceal it near my tail light assembly where my blinkers and my brake light are. I'm going to kind of hide just this area, but just that is what's going to be back in the back that feeds electricity to my rear lighting system. And again, I'm going to figure out a way to conceal that. And I'm going to have the same thing in the front. Now, what this is actually going to go to is going to feed the front. This is going to go actually into this relay, because this relay is sending signals back to the the blinkers and the brake lights and everything else. I'm also going to have something similar to this, a very short one coming from the front that also goes into here, which again feeds electricity to the front, because there's going to be a headlight, there's going to be running lights, which is going to be similar to the rear running lights. I'm going to have turn signals, which is going to be similar to the rear turn signals, same signal, so they're going to have two cords going into one lead here. So that's going to be something I'm going to figure out, but I've done it. And we've got button lights for or a button for the horn and all. So that is kind of it in a nutshell. I hope this made some sense. I hope you got some ideas on how you can create your own lighting array. Everything was bought on Amazon. No links here, guys. Use your thumbs, search bar. That's all you got to do. At least you now know how to kind of label or look, keyword, if you will, wire, lever wire connectors, 4-pin relays with harness, LED flasher relay, 3-pin is what you want. This is a 3-pin LED flasher relay, 12-volt LED light. For your wire, it doesn't need to be heavy gauge. I don't even know what gauge this is. It probably says on here somewhere if I could read it. You don't need high gauge. Look on there. Again, you might even be able to see some videos out there that tell you what's a good gauge to get. Wire strippers, if you don't have any, these are really nice ones. Look at this. See if you can find one. Put wire strippers on Amazon and see if you can find some that look like this. The nice thing about these is they're very easy to use. If this was, here is just an old wire that I've been using. I'll show you how these things even work. There's a cutter down below here. Cuts it pretty easy to strip the wire. Oh, hang on here. Camera shy. Simple. Okay, so that is, and if you didn't do it the right length, you can cut it down. Oh, let's do it again. Let me show you how to do it. Look, watch this. This is so cool. Boom, done. I don't have to worry about, here's some old school wire strippers. I have some. I don't even have any more. I think I got rid of them. Oh, by the way, here is that, here's the 12 volt, here's the power wheel adapter. Here we go, look at that. That's it. Much smaller and cleaner looking than this thing. And that's it. And then I got a black and a red cable coming out. I have it going into another kind of a wire connector. It's a lever wire connector. It feeds in, it has two coming in. It looks like red and blue, but you can make them when you want. But then now it turns one signal into two signals. And so I'm going to kind of take advantage of that for another reason. But these are live, by the way. If I stuck anything in there, there's no switch on this. That was kind of the nice thing, is this one had a switch on it. There's no switch on here, but it's not the end of the world. And then every time I'm done riding my bike, I can just open up a zipper pack, pull this out, go zip it, throw it on the charger. It'll be good for my next ride. These will give me, if I have every light running all the time, halos and all, this will last for about an hour and 15 minutes, one charge. So it's not going to last forever. I have two. So if I ever really want to go on a 2-hour ride in the dark, I guess I can. I really don't think I'll ever be doing that. I will probably have just my daytime running lights running most of the time, even during the day, just to be visible. Obviously, the turn signals and the brake lights are important, so that's something they'll just happen automatically. And they don't really run the battery down because they're not on all the time. Brake lights and tail lights, or brake lights and turn signals, they're just on intermittently, so they don't really draw a lot of power. On this headlight here, this is what's drawing most of my energy, especially the halo. These halos actually draw quite a bit of power, and I don't think I'll be running with that a lot. So I think I'll probably end up getting, as long as I'll ever need for one given ride. Well, guys, thanks for stopping by and taking a look at my mess. And hopefully this inspired you. Hopefully it gave you some tips and some pointers on things that you can do to make your own lighting array. Hopefully this was helpful. And thanks for watching. God bless. Peace out.